It's the first day of summer. Do you feel any different today than you did yesterday? If I'm being honest, I don't. The weather doesn't feel like it's the first day of summer. And my schedule is probably not going to be much different today than it was a couple weeks ago. But the reality, no matter how I feel or how you feel, the reality is that things have changed. And we have to embrace reality. We have to be realists if we're going to be successful. And we have to reestablish or recalibrate or reassess the things that make us well. What makes us happy and healthy and holy? What are those things that we're going to do now that the season of life has changed? With every new season of life, we have to adjust to the circumstances of life. Using those same foundations that we've always found to be successful, the foundations of life that make us healthy and happy, those things aren't going to change throughout our life. But the ways in which we implore them and the ways that we apply them to our life, those things are going to change based on the circumstances. So for instance, how are you doing emotionally? Have you assessed how you're doing emotionally? Like, those things are going to change. Last week, you were probably stressed and anxious and just ready to be done with school. Maybe you were lamenting the ways that the school year has ended. Well, how are you going to reassess those things? Because it changes now this week. How are you doing with friendships? Are you out now able, with a little bit less restriction this summer, are you able to get out and see friends, maybe outside, maybe go on walks, maybe make more time to meet up with somebody or make more time to talk to them on the phone? Maybe make time to write some letters. I've done that a little bit. I found a great outlet of intimacy, just writing people and writing things that are on my heart, expressing myself to them and how important those relationships have been in my life. Maybe that's a way that you can do that. Find some creative ways to take care of your emotional health. How about intellectually? Things have really changed from last week into this week. Right? Last week you were cramming, you were studying, you were being formed intellectually. This week everything flatlines, everything stops. It's kind of drastic. And maybe that's what we need. Maybe the first thing that you do intellectually is take a break. Take a break from everything. However, that's just a break. It's not forever. And this summer, what are you going to do to continue to be formed intellectually? Maybe it has nothing to do with your career. Maybe it's just something fun. What's something that you've always wanted to learn about but never took the time to do? Maybe it's a new hobby. I don't know. I like leadership podcasts, so I'm gonna be listening to more leadership stuff, trying to form my mind about how to be a better leader. I always want to be formed in that. So I'm gonna be listening to podcasts. What book do you want to read? What things do you say, if I had more time, I would do this? Well, now's the time. It's time to reestablish and reassess right now before it gets 2 months down the road and we say, I didn't do anything with my summer. What about physically? You've probably noticed that during this time of pandemic and being sedentary at home, things have changed physically. Maybe it's that I've worked out more. Maybe it's I've worked out less. Maybe my eating habits have changed, right? And maybe we've been stress eating or maybe we've just been eating because we're lazy or whatever the circumstances. How do I need to reestablish now that it's summertime? Now that I have more time to think about what's going on in my life and how to be healthy and happy, I need to reestablish my diet. I need to reestablish my exercise routine. I need to take care of myself physically. What does that mean for you? Maybe it's different for you than it is for me, but what does it mean for you? So we're looking at emotional, intellectual, physical. And the thing that I want to continue to talk about this week, we're going to reestablish, is spiritual. How are you doing spiritually? I said that there were pillars in the spiritual life, and we talked about this during Lent, but now we need to recalibrate our spiritual life for summer. When the season of life changes, the circumstances change, I need to be able to change those foundational things in order to fit my schedule so that I can be at my best. For instance, at the beginning of this pandemic, we weren't able to receive the sacraments. Well, have you heard that just this past week, in all the dioceses of Illinois, they've opened up new opportunities for Catholics, right? And you need to check your parish for your listings to see what you're able to do now that you're at home. But in most places, you're able to receive the sacrament of the Eucharist outdoors, and you're also able to receive the sacrament of reconciliation outdoors. How are you going to schedule those things in? We can't just say, I can't do that. No, now you can. And now we're able to do that. So how are you going to make that a priority in your life? Check your parish. How are you going to receive the sacrament of reconciliation and the sacrament of the Eucharist? Check their schedule, right? What about our daily prayer? Maybe it looked different during the school year than it does during the summer. It should probably. Now there's more time. Now I can maybe do it at the time that I wanted to do it or could have done it. Maybe morning is my best time and I was using my mornings to study. Well, now, when are you going to pray and for how long are you going to pray? Establish those things, set a schedule, and start it up. Finally, advancement, development, study. All those things are one thing. How am I going to advance? How am I going to continue to be formed spiritually? What are those things that I've wanted to learn about my faith? What are those questions that I have about my faith that I say, I want to go a little bit deeper? I said before, maybe read parts of the catechism. Maybe there's a book or a podcast that you now want to get on that you can be able to be formed spiritually. Continue to challenge yourself, but reestablish, recognize that we may not feel any different today, but reality has changed. And we have to change with reality so that we can be realists, so that we can be successful. Let's look at our life. Let's see the ways that we can change this summer. Let's not get 2 or 3 months down the road and say, I wasted that time. It's time right now, the first day of summer, to reestablish, to reassess, to recalibrate so that we can be at our best.